everyone. Welcome to the other side of service, where military families step forward and share our stories you don't often hear. The ones behind the uniform, the deployments, all the things that don't make the headlines. I'm Brandi, an active duty military spouse who has navigated and advocated in this lifestyle for 20 plus years. I've navigated more PCS moves than I can count, changed schools for our children more than I can remember, and have had dozens of addresses at this point. Thank you so much for tuning in today.
I'm Sony. I am a former military spouse, longtime advocate, and someone who has lived the lifestyle and transitioned out of it, raised 3 kids in it, and still serve it now of the community. And I'm so excited to welcome everyone to episode 1. We're here to help amplify the stories of you.
Let's talk about something that we are both so passionate about, the connection between military families and democracy. Because for us, it isn't abstract, it's personal.
The truth is simple. Democracy is fragile. It only survives when the people show up. And we've seen what happens when citizens tune out or check out.
Sony, I mean, people think that the military protects democracy. Okay, to an extent. But what it is actually is democracy is protected by informed citizens who vote and speak up and speak out when you don't see us as your military being used in ways that you agree with. We are your military. The military defends the nation, but we the people, decide what the nation stands for, what it invests in, and who it sends into harm's way.
Which is why we say your voice matters. Your vote is a duty. Not because we want to preach at you, but because your vote shapes the lives of millions of military families, ours included.
Yes, and that's why this podcast isn't just storytelling, it's an invitation to understand how your story and our stories are connected. So, Sony, what can listeners expect from this season? What do you think?
Oh, they can expect beautiful stories, heartbreaking stories. They can expect to hear the other side of service, from the competitiveness of trying to achieve and excel to the compassion that it takes to really hold a family together on the home front. Deep dives into policies that affect military families, conversations with experts. Every episode will end with a small and meaningful action that you can take to strengthen our democracy. You're here to listen, you're here to learn, but you're also here to live this journey live with us and take forth the knowledge and help shape our nation and sustain our democracy.
This is why, and you will learn as you join us. Each of these topics is directly tied to the health of the nation. Like Sony said, we are going to have discussions on policy. We're going to have conversations with those who live it, which we call experts. And we're going to talk about the different things when it comes to military families, such as voting, childcare, deployments. But it is the goal to have a storytelling with purpose and a narrative with impact. That's always our goal. So thank you for choosing to listen. And hopefully, we're all going to learn things together.
We're so excited to have you on this journey as we welcome you to episode 1.
We are. Thank you, Sony. So, why did we start this podcast? For me, as being a military spouse, our lives as military families are so complex, and people hardly ever see what goes on behind the moving. And it got me to thinking, does anyone really understand the demands of us on this life in our lives in this lifestyle of service? I recall just thinking, this is a way for us to share our stories and I guess not be invisible to our community outside the gate, and for us who are on installation together to have that conversation.
Exactly. And beyond the emotion, there's a bigger picture. Our democracy depends on its people understanding the cost of service and the power that they hold to shape the policies that affect families like ours.
Not agree more, Sony. This is the part because the more I learn, the more I realize our votes affect everything from whether service members have safe housing to whether our families have access to health care, to how deployments are managed, our children and our families' safety, as our nations prepare for threats abroad.
That's at the heart of what we're doing with this show. We're not here to tell you what to think. We're here to show you why you matter in this story, why democracy isn't a spectator sport. You know, Brandy, I have to admit that when we decided to start doing this podcast, I was excited to finally have the platform to amplify the voices of families. I remember basic life skills that I actually wasn't equipped with as a young spouse within the institution, and having to learn a lot, even having transitioned out of it, voting absentee and not knowing how to navigate school systems, not being able to transfer credentials as a spouse, and even some of the mental health struggles that our service members deal with. It's been a lot, and I'm very, very excited for this journey, and I'm very, very excited to bring families to the forefront.
Tony, I love this so much. I could not agree more. And like the mission of our podcast says it all. We exist to educate voters, you, on the vital role you play in shaping policies that impact service members, our families, and the future of our nation. I mean, this is just the beginning, but we hope this helps break the ice to have these difficult conversations.
That's right. We're pulling back the curtain on military family life because the truth is, America's national security is directly connected to the well being of the families behind the force. A distracted, exhausted, or unsupported family means a distracted service member and a
Wow.
distracted force. That's a national security issue.
Absolutely, it is.
Absolutely it is.
And also, let's be real, military families are in the thick of democracy. We move constantly, we vote absentee, we track global conflicts because it impacts our lives in real time. We see the downstream consequences of political decisions in a way that most people never have to. And it's generational, that impact.
We've lived it, and we're here to give you the human side of those headlines.
Absolutely. We're not only here to humanize our service members, our families, we're here to talk about why we serve. And it goes, before we go too deep, we should probably introduce ourselves beyond spouse and military advocates, and so people know who's talking to them. Sony, please share.
I've spent more than 2 decades as a military spouse and as a federal employee. I've lived the deployments, the isolation, the unexpected changes, the uncertainty. But I also witnessed the resilience and pride that comes with that life. While serving as a family readiness officer, now known as deployment readiness coordinators, I saw firsthand how families carry a significant portion of the emotional and logistical load that keeps the mission moving. Even after transitioning out of that lifestyle, it didn't stop shaping me. You don't just close that chapter, it stays with you. It informs how you see community, how you support, and how you advocate. As I embark on a new path in macro social work, I carry with me the knowledge that military families are the backbone of the force, and their stories matter, just as my story mattered. They deserve to be heard, acknowledged, and supported, and we are just the team to do it.
I couldn't agree more with you. I was listening and I was thinking, I first became a military spouse at 23, which is about the age our children are now. I also grew up myself in a military family, and I've been through the deployments, all of the changes, the housing issue, childcare issues, career sacrifice, you name it. I also discovered the incredible strength in the military community. Military families, we just don't have the luxury of saying we cannot handle this. We have to build the connections in the most unlikely places, places that people probably don't even realize exist in our nation or in different parts of the world where we might find ourselves stationed with our families. Our community is called resilient, but I'd like to say that it's more than that. We sacrifice every day so that everyone in our nation wakes up with that protection, with that freedom, and with that democracy, with the ability to have all their rights and to speak freely and to protest and to enjoy all the equal protections that our Constitution guarantees. And so, having this discussion, I hope, helps all of us think about who's serving, why that matters, and where your place is in the American story.
Together, we represent so many sides of the military family journey. There are stories, real life experience that a family goes through that isn't necessarily in the mainstream American narrative. Can anyone relate to me? Have you ever had your service member come home covered in COP? If a military family, especially anyone married to an armorer or anyone who has dealt with anyone going to the armory, they know what COP is. Coming to the door, not being able to hug your kids, not being able to hug your wife yet because there's chemicals all over your uniform. You have to be decontaminated. Your clothes have to be washed separately, and you need your team to help you do that. The team is at home. The team is me. The team was us.
Tony, this is really like making me think about why you and I work together so well in talking about this. I mean, we are literally and have always been in the trenches of this military life in ways that people don't really think about, but they are everyday living, and it impacts not just us as spouses or people who advocate or protect people in our community, but also as parents. So I just really appreciate you bringing this up. We represent so many sides of the military. I know my spouse has been boots on the ground several times in war and also been on the air side in the Marine Corps. So it's just like so many things are happening all the time. And no matter what, like as families, we're always there supporting that mission. And honestly, without that support, the mission is impossible. Not just us as families who need to support that mission for it to be a success. It's all of us here at home, all of us that our servicemen and women are out fighting and protecting to defend every day. Let's talk about something that we are both so passionate about, the connection between military families and democracy. Because for us, it isn't abstract, it's personal.
Democracy isn't something we just inherit. It's something entrusted to us as a people. And we, as military families, are counting on our fellow Americans to care about what happens behind the scenes of service because it affects each and every one of us.
So true, Sony. So I encourage everyone, join us, listen, learn, reflect, and step into your role because this is our democracy. Together, we protect it. Welcome to the other side of service.